Revived Thoughts is a production of Revive Studios.
This is Troy and Joel and Elise for the top 5 episode summary review that we do every single year, and it is great to be here. Joel and Elise, you guys gonna go ahead and say hi simultaneously?
Hello
Hey-o.
there. Oh, that wasn't simultaneous at all.
That was pretty close, though. It's
Not
pretty
too
close.
bad.
If you are a listener to Revive Thoughts, Elise is the host of Martyrs and Missionaries, the other podcast that is Revive Studios does. And if you are a listener to Martyrs and Missionaries, then Joel and I host the podcast Revive Thoughts. That is the other one that Revive Studios does. And Elise and I are married, so we are currently sharing one microphone right now as we speak into it.
Just how close we are.
That's right. We only need one between us. And Joel, you are not with us. You are in Kansas City teleconference calling. You're calling in. I don't know. We're doing this thing, and so that's how we are recording this for everyone who is listening right now.
You gonna say which color shirt you're wearing? And
I don't know. Yeah. I will say, big year for the studio. I had just crunched the numbers on this last night, and it is exciting. We can finally pop the imaginary champagne bottles that we wanted to, because our studio has hit officially 1 million downloads between all of our podcasts, almost exclusively Revive Thoughts and Martyrs and Missionaries. But between those two shows, 1 million downloads this month, when I checked it yesterday, it was 1,005,000 downloads. So we officially crossed it sometime in the past probably week and a half or so. So congratulations, everybody. Good job. Keeping up the good work.
I don't know. I think a lot of people don't quite understand how much of a feat that's pretty cool for us. Troy and I have been in the podcast industry for some time with some pretty big flops in our past, and especially, I don't know, being in the circles and stuff, it's hard to find a show or to create a show that finds an audience in the way that our has, and so it's super encouraging and exciting to see that that people like this, and it's with the show that everyone told us would be the least likely and the hardest to do that with. And they were proven wrong, which is exciting.
They were. No, those early days, not very encouraging, but a few people here and there would help us out. But overall, it was kind of this is a bad idea, don't go forward with it. But Joel, you believed in it, and I believed in it, so we went forward.
I believed in you, Troy. I knew you were onto something here.
Thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. Well, we couldn't have done it without you, and now we're at 1 million. We couldn't have done it without you either, Elise, in your show.
I know you couldn't have.
Which was on her own that she kind of branched off into and jumped in as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Am I supposed to say more about that? Yes.
Yeah.
No. I'm excited about it. I think it's pretty cool. So, yeah. Yay, 1 million downloads.
1 million downloads for people who don't follow podcasting. I don't really know what to compare it to. It is a very big milestone that very few podcasts end up ever hitting. If you look on, it's harder to find. So if you were on YouTube or something like that, you can see just by clicking a button, oh, that's how many people are subscribed. That's how many people follow. That's how many views their episodes get. Podcasting is much more of a mirage. We can see our downloads, but we can't even compare them to other people because they don't release their downloads. So it's very difficult, but there are people who chart it. And if you've worked at it a while, you can figure out where everything is at. And our shows are in the top 1% of podcasts. That's not just Christian podcasts or church history podcasts. That is just in podcast period. We are ranked in the top 1%. And again, hitting 1 million downloads. I've seen very large shows with names and famous people, and they'll be very happy when they hit their 1 million downloads. And it's incredible that we can say that this studio has been able to do that. So we feel very blessed, and to millions more in the future, hopefully someday. But hey, all right. But you did not come here to listen to our.
Wait, Troy, let's mention the that top 100 list.
Oh yeah, that's true. So. Recently, too, our show, Revive Thoughts, was also featured on FeedSpot, which is like a giant link conglomerator that did mention us and sent us a direct email to tell us they put us in their top 34 was our rank over 100 podcasts. And I mean, the very first one, oh man, was it Stephen Furtick or something like that? Which is not to say Elevation Worship. It's not to say that we are endorsing the people. This link doesn't endorse these podcasts over other things.
It's looking at podcasts in the Christian,
exactly.
demographic.
It was just purely saying, here's where you ranked out of these 100, and we put you in rank 34, which is, absolutely incredible. If you look at some of the other names on that list, I was blown away by some of the people we were considered larger than, and some of the people that we were smaller than, were very, very large names of big Christian things that you would have probably heard of that were not that much bigger ahead of us in their list of rankings. So yeah, we feel like there's been a lot of good stuff there. Our show is also at 193 Apple 5-star reviews right now, with a perfect 5.0 somehow still. We've kept that for years, and we thank you for that because we have a pretty controversial show. And it's actually crazy that our show has never been hit too hard. And Elise, you have how many ratings on Martyrs and Missionaries right now?
I think it's about 128.
120, just about around.
I think it's about that. We looked at it earlier, and I forget. Yeah. It's like 128.
So congratulations to you. So both shows doing a lot of ratings. A lot of people are listening, and it's really exciting that so many people are tuning into a topic that church history I do think is getting more popular. Like I do think this subject we are on the right trend lines. We may have been a little bit ahead of everybody. I remember in 2019 and 2018 when we were first talking about this stuff, there wasn't that much of a push for what we're doing, and there was really only one other podcast that was doing church history stuff. I feel like this is starting to become a realm people are excited about. I just, when I mention this stuff to people I meet now, there's a lot more interest in it than there was 2 or even 3 years ago. Like people seem to be going towards this subject. So I think that we'll see even more people coming into this realm and following us as time goes on. All right, but now you're ready. Now is the moment. You want to hear what are our top 5 episodes of this year. And we also have a tradition going back to at least last year. I can't remember if we did it the year before, where we are doing a little church history trivia. For you, the listener, and for Elise and Joel, there is an opportunity for you to get involved and to see how you're doing. Now, you can't really get involved and play the game, but you can listen to Joel and Elise play the game. I will be asking them church history trivia questions. They will try to guess the answer. There will be some scores kept, and whoever ends up getting the highest score at the end of the night, they win church history trivia for this year. It's based off a game of church history trivia we once played a long time ago with other podcasts. We miss it. It was fun, but in the meantime, we're playing it right now with Joel and Elise. And this year, I have a new way to do it. So I, over the summer, put together a map of all of our episodes. If you go to revivethoughts.com and you go to map, you can see all of the episodes we've ever done on a trivia geographical map. This is just nice if you're kind of wondering, what do I want to listen to? There's hundreds of episodes in both of these podcasts. Where should I start? Well, maybe you're interested in a certain location or certain things, and this is kind of just a fun way to see how the church has affected all of these different locations. Now, some of these places, like England and the United States, have a lot more dots on them than some other places, like, for example, Russia or all of South America.
Russia has one.
Russia does have one, and South America does have a few, but it is harder to get good Christian church history from some of those locations, even though it has kind of helped me target places to focus on as well. So from that map...
Hold on. I'm already seeing a description. I'm already seeing a nitpick here, and that is Troy, you and Elise are sitting right next to each other.
We are sitting next to each other.
Supposed to know that she's not eyeballing some answers without me knowing, because I'm going to tell you right now, geography is not my strong suit. I mean, I enjoyed it in elementary school, but that was 3rd grade. This is different stuff.
Here's the thing. This is Rich coming from the guy last year who was totally Googling the answers, and that's how he won.
I did not. It is just... she already knew we had one in Russia, which makes me think there's a map up somewhere.
That's my episode.
She has no idea what episodes we're going to pick. I don't even fully know because I'm just going to kind of pick them as we go here. So there's no way for her to know. I have my phone turned away from her with the map. That's so easy to read map, revivethoughts.com map. And you can, so I will just show you how easy it is throughout the episode. I feel like by the end of this episode, not only do people have 5 great sermons or Martyrs and Missionaries episodes to check out, but they'll also have an amazing map that they will want to
Wouldn't
play.
They have 10?
Well, Joel and I's episodes might cross over which ones to do. Mm-hmm. But anyway, by the end of this episode, for sure, they're going to go, wow, this is such a fun game. Every party game.
Nobody's going to look at
Every New Year's Eve party is going to be full of people playing this map game.
You're so confident.
I am. But now let me explain too, why do we do this episode? It's actually our last year, according to Spotify, this was our most listened to episode of the year, was our 2023 year in review. The reason we do this episode is not just for it's a fun chance for me, Joel, and Elise to all be on the same program once a year, which is kind of fun too, because we don't get to do that, even though we're, podcasting in the same realm. Our shows don't cross over that much. But the other reason it's kind of nice too is for you. You as a listener have, in our case, dozens of episodes every year. In Elise's case, less, but still many episodes to choose from. It might be easier
That was
for you.
subtle.
That was subtle. But you might be asking, where can I start? Like, where is a good place to go in? Well, this is kind of a list of episodes that maybe you'll hear Joel and I describe them, and maybe you'll be curious, or Elise describe hers, and you'll go, oh, yeah, I want to listen to that one. This is kind of here's a roadmap from the last year of episodes to check out. That doesn't mean any of the other episodes are bad. This was probably, I think, the hardest year I've ever had in trying to cross out which episodes I didn't want to be on this list.
Yeah.
It was brutal. I could not believe how many good episodes we've had this year, but it doesn't mean anything. If you're a speaker, by the way, and you read an episode for us, did not mean you did a bad job, or we didn't love you as a speaker or anything like that. This is purely just out of almost impossible task of picking episodes. These were the ones that stood out to me as ones you didn't want to miss this year, but they're all extremely, in my opinion, very good. But let's start with trivia. Let's go ahead and get Joel and Elise some points on the board. I'll start with you, Joel, and then I'll give, if you can't guess it, Elise will get a chance to guess. You guys can kind of go back and forth until you maybe guess
that's
it.
my other question is, how is this going to work? Because, whoever goes first is at a disadvantage because whoever goes second has the first person's answer to try to,
Well, I think if you get it right the first time, though, then you get the point. That's an advantage.
Yeah, but then it process of elimination, it rules it out for the second person.
We'll see if that's true. And by the way, it has to be place they're famous for. For example, I'm using this as our example. If I say Hudson Taylor, don't say Britain. Yeah, he's from Britain. But you gotta pick China. You gotta say China for that to count. Or you can't say Hong Kong because he went through. No, it's gotta be China. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start with a nice, easy one to Joel. I said nice, easy one, and now I'm suddenly blanking on Oh, Joel, this is a knocker out of the park. Just getting you a point on the board here. Okay. Give me
Hudson
what
Taylor,
place
China.
is this person famous for? Dietrich Bonhoeffer, go.
Germany. Woo!
Germany. Easy. So that's how it works. Just the kind of what they're famous for. Yes, Dietrich Bonhoeffer did go to America and London, but famous for his time in Germany. So now we get the idea of it.
That's my one and only
now
point.
Let's pick a really obscure, difficult one for you. Elise, what country would okay, it's actually going to sound like I picked a really obscure one, but what country would Gregory of Nazianzus, one of the three Cappadocian fathers,
Oh my gosh.
from?
I don't know. Cappadocia, Rome? No.
Cappadocia is not in Rome.
Sorry. Oh, Asia Minor, isn't it?
Yeah, but what country is that?
Turkey?
Turkey. Okay, that's how we're playing. Okay, good. All right, Joel, we'll give one more. Well, actually, we'll stop there. You guys are 1-1. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and begin. Who wants to start with their first, number 5 in their list of episodes? Joel, it sounded like you. Go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. Yeah. So these are no particular order. I don't have this is the best. These are just 5 that I jotted down here because I enjoyed. And if you haven't listened to it yet, go listen to a revived conversation about if we should pay for conferences, like church conferences. It gets quite heated. It's honestly probably the most Troy and I have ever disagreed on a show, but I had a fun time with it, and it's still a fun conversation, and one that I think is worth thinking about and maybe chatting with your friends about. So go listen to Revived Conversations. Should we pay for conferences? Troy's of the mind that we shouldn't, despite all the logistical advantages it gives.
I never said you didn't pay anything per se. Well, I think I did actually. I more meant you shouldn't be charging people $250 a ticket, but I definitely think I put us in the spot now where if we ever did have a church history conference, we're going to do it for free. So look forward to that in the future. A nice free church history conference from us. Yeah, no, I'm glad you picked that episode, Jill. I actually really wanted that one on my list, but I was hoping you would pick it so that I didn't have to, and I agree with you. I think that is the most intense debate we've had on Revived Thoughts. Nothing compared to debates we've had off of Revived Thoughts. As old friends, we've had many, but on Revived Thoughts, that was definitely our closest to, and our most, we were not on the same side, and you could tell. So I enjoyed that one, and I'm glad you picked it. Elise, you're up.
All right, so you're going to hear lots of different episodes from these guys, and I had 7 episodes this year, which makes it really easy and also very hard to choose from, but I have a really good excuse because I was finishing up a history degree. That's done now, so hopefully in 2025 there'll be more episodes. But
50 or 60 episodes for 2025?
75.
Oh, wow.
All right.
You heard it.
So mine would be, I think, early on this year, we did How Not to Teach Church History, where Troy and I came on and did this one. And I'm not picking it because we were just amazing and we answered so many questions and all this. I'm picking it because we received so many emails from people that were like, this was really, really helpful and really enjoyed that conversation. So I figured if everybody was liking it that much, it must have been needed. So therefore, it is on my top 5.
I appreciate you saying that. I enjoyed being on that episode. I think we put it on both Revived Thoughts and Martyrs and Missionaries. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, really positive, which was nice because we were giving strong opinions on how not to teach it. So if you're a pastor or a teacher or a professor, Devo leader, anything out there, and you interact with church history, and you should be out there teaching a little bit, maybe that episode would be helpful on what mistakes not to be doing. Now, it's a lot easier to tell you how not to do something than how to do it. Because then people were like, so how should you do it? And we're like, we're going to get right up on that episode. And here, 9-10 months later, we still haven't told you how to do it. So I'm not sure that I know the answer, how to perfectly do it. But
you know how not to.
But it's a lot easier to tell you what not to do than it is to tell you what to do. All right. So my number 5 episode is a tie, which is not uncommon on my list. There are a lot of ties. But this year, I wanted to mention a very recent episode by Joel, the Roman Colosseum episode. I really enjoyed that episode. I listened to it while on the track running. I had no input. Joel completely from top to finish did that episode. And I listened to it like you listening right now listen to our episodes with no input. It was just fun to hear somebody else doing all of it and just enjoying it while I ran on the track for a while. So I really enjoyed that episode. And I tied it with the other episode that only had one of us on it, which was our French Revolution episode. Heard a lot of great feedback from people on that French Revolution one. And it was, for me, I had been kind of like collecting facts about the French Revolution for years, so it was nice to finally put it all into a single episode and just get it out there. So I like those side history projects that Joel and I do, and that was just fun. So yeah, those are my number 5 tied episodes. And now back to church history trivia. Are you ready? Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, Elise, I'm gonna jump on to you here and hit you with a tough one. Maybe not a tough one. Oh, that's tough. Oh, that's tough. All right. What country is Augustine from? Go.
What country?
Like today, if you were to put this country on a map, where would this be?
Ethiopia, yeah?
Not Ethiopia.
Shoot.
Joel, what do you think?
Okay, it turns over to me. Augustine.
Is that working?
No. Did you get
No. Saint Augustine.
Has he Beetlejuiced?
Let's go with, I'm going to go Italy.
Okay, and that was also incorrect. Elise was closer, though. Now I'm going to give Elise and you a hint. It's the same country that Lilius Trotter will end up going to. Go.
Algeria.
Algeria. Perfect. Elise got that hint. So, yeah,
Nice.
Algeria, not
Does
Italy.
that count for me, or is that...
Yeah,
okay,
that was
we
your
did get to go.
second
Okay.
chance to get it, so there you go.
There's no chance I
Each
would
of
have
you
gotten
gets-
that, yeah.
Yeah, well, each of you get 2 chances. Now, technically, Augustine did spend time in Rome, but he's much more famous for his time in North Africa, so I feel like that's where you got to go. All right, next one, a little fun one for you. Joel, where was Soren Kierkegaard from?
Kierkegaard. Soren Kierkegaard. I'm thinking Europe. I'm thinking Middle Europe. I'm thinking France.
Close. You're in the right ballpark, but it wasn't France. Elise?
Denmark, yeah?
Denmark. Elise is correct. That was Denmark. Don't worry if your listener are worried. I have the map tilted towards myself. All right. So, in round 2 here of Church History Trivia Geography Edition, Elise has 3. Joel has 1. But I feel very confident Joel is going to make a resounding comeback here in the next round. He was just letting her get confident. I know Joel.
That's right. This is what
such a
happened last
kind
year.
Player. It's true, actually. All right, number 4. I will go first on my episode since I made Joel go first last time. My number 4 sermon person of the year was William Chalmers Burns. what a cool guy. This guy encouraged Hudson Taylor. This guy encouraged Robert Murray McChain and also gave his funeral sermon, which is what part of his sermon we highlighted on Revived Thoughts. And I only recently found out he was also deeply involved in the life of Andrew Murray. So he basically affected 3 or 4 continents, and that's not something the average person can probably say, that the heroes of the faith many of us look up to were all encouraged by this one man interacting and really truly crossing paths with all of them at the exact right moment they needed him. It is amazing that he's not like a household name. So William Chalmers Burns, number 4, I just was floored getting to learn his story, and I feel blessed to have worked with it. Elise, go ahead.
All right, so my number 4 is a tie between Mary Reed and Mariah Fearing. So Mary Reed was a missionary to lepers, not leopards, so that's on that kind of show, lepers in India. And then Mariah Fearing was a missionary to the Congo Free State. They were both incredible women who went to very different places, but both very hard places, because Mariah Fearing was a retiree and a former slave. And Mary Reed was working in India when she contracted leprosy, and then decided that instead of living out the rest of her days in one of the 3 leper colonies or whatever, the asylums in the United States, that she would head back and go to one in India, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, those 2 are tied for me.
All right, Joel, you're up.
My turn. I put Jerome. He did a sermon on Psalms 5, and I think it's just interesting more for the novelty of it. I think it's neat. We have a Jerome episode. We hear about Jerome, but you didn't really. At least I had no idea what his preaching style was, and so I think that's a neat inclusion in our collection.
All right, Joel. I appreciate that. I actually saw Jerome and thought about him because he is a novelty in that sense of like he's not somebody you're gonna see on every list. I can say with confidence we're probably one of the only history podcasts in the world that spent any time on Jerome this year. But it was fun. It was cool, and it's always just nice to get those old guys. We have more ancient fathers of the faith in that sense, probably tracked on our show than very few shows compared to that. It's not a brag. It's just the nature of what we do. We have all these things. And we have some really cool ones coming up in this next year, too, that once people record them, I'm very excited to get them out. So, all right, you guys are ready. Church History Trivia,
Yes.
Geography Edition, round, I don't know what number
3,
we're on. I think it's round 3. Okay, this one, Joel, I'm going to let you go first here and get your first crack at it. Oh, man, shoot. I had a very nice person picked out for you, and then I moved my finger off of it, and I can't find. Oh, okay. Joel, this one's for you. Mm-hmm. Where was George Matheson located?
America?
Sorry, not America. Good guess. Has a nice name. All right, Elise, turn it over to you. Chance to steal.
I'm going to say it's not Germany, because we just did Germany.
Not Germany. George doesn't sound like a very German name.
Well, no, England?
I'm going to say England is not an acceptable answer. Sorry. All right, Joel, back to you.
Do we get a layer of hint?
Okay. If you remember, he was the blind pastor that preached in front of Queen Victoria that we covered on our show.
Sounds like England to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
sound like England.
France came over from France.
No, he did not come over from France. I'm sorry.
Okay, so this is the country they ministered to, right?
Yeah, this is where he's traditionally considered to be from. And England and America and France are not it.
I think I actually just remembered it.
So I might give you a bonus chance here if
No,
Elise can't get it. Just
Okay, something European.
this is correct.
Okay. We've guessed England, France, Germany. We've done Denmark. That's not a thing. Oh, goodness. Would it be Italy? No.
That classic Italian name, George Matheson.
I don't know.
So he was from Scotland.
Ah, come on.
Scotland. Hanging above England. That's why he was hanging out with Queen Victoria, but not from England. Okay, so that was round number 1. All right, Elise, you're going to get the first. I feel that one's maybe too easy there. I don't want to give it to you too easy here. Let's see what we got. Looking for a good one. Okay, Elise, for you, where did Ambrose minister at?
How interesting.
Early church father, help mentor, St. Augustine.
Yes. Ugh, gosh.
What you're feeling right now, Elise, is how I feel like after every question.
Ambrose. Okay, hang on. I feel like I
Try
really
singing
should
it.
know
I find
this.
it helps not at all.
Hey, that's what I'm going to try that one. Nobody wants to hear that. What am I? Oh, gosh.
To the listener, though, listen to the fun they're having. This could be a
The
game
pain.
you play in New Year's Eve with your map.
Ambrose. It's like the entire Middle East had disappeared from me and all of Europe. Basically, entire
That's gonna be a
continents.
problem for you answering
I
this
know.
question.
Okay, if I had to throw something out, oh gosh. Nope. Something starts with an M.
I might have to pass it to Joel.
Yeah,
Or
pass
you-
it to Joel,
Okay,
pass it to Joel.
Elise gave you mama, so that was
I
not
don't
correct.
know. Ambrose. Okay, Ambrose is old. So it's an old country.
The old country is correct.
Going back to
It's an old country. Like his full name has a location in it. Ambrose of somewhere. And I'm blanking on that
When
too.
they're old like that, they do have that tendency.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that anymore? I'd like to start calling you Joel of Kansas City. You can call me.
That sounds acceptable. Ambrose of... I don't know. Let's go back to Italy. Is he from Italy?
Joel is correct. It is.
what?
Italy.
I almost said Italy. I
You
did.
said muh.
No, but I almost didn't. I thought Italy. I've been wrong on Italy like every time.
You said muh. All right, Joel, congratulations. All right,
Thank
so
you.
the score is now 3-2.
All
And
right.
I think the
What's
real people
his full
having fun
name?
here.
What do people call him?
Ambrose of Milan. So the
Milan.
in there was Milan. in
I
Milan.
almost said Macedonia too, so that's
That
not.
would
That
not have been
wouldn't
close.
have been close.
All right, but again, the real winner is the listener who's realizing this Revive Thoughts map is a hit. I can't wait to play it
They're
with
also
other people.
realizing, who am I listening to?
It's okay. So for the listeners, if you're losing faith in these, it's New Year's time. It's late where we are. It's early where Joel is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the only reason.
How many
you're not
excuses can we
getting-
layer in?
There we go. Okay, number 3. Joel, what was your number 3 episode?
Okay, let's go with the recent one. I really liked our recent Christmas Evans, the Cedar of God. I had a lot of fun recording that with you, and I thought it was a great sermon. I thought it was a great narration, and it was an all-around solid episode that you guys should check out if you haven't heard it.
Yeah, I really liked. I love all Christmas Evans stuff. I'd never heard of that guy till Revive Thoughts. He's got an amazing backstory. Guthrie, who I met about a year ago, he's a great guy who narrated it for us, really kind. And he emailed me after the episode came out. And for Christmas, his wife got him a Christmas Evans sermon book. So this guy, he's a Christmas Evans fan, and he's ready to go for future Christmas episodes of Christmas Evans, which also was just an amazing coincidence that on my schedule I'd put it before Christmas. I didn't even think about that at all, but I think the Lord knew when it needed to come out. So that was a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that, and I agree. Great episode. Elise, what was your number 3-est best thirdest episode?
My number 3 is Frederick Boddicker, who is a missionary to Russia's prisoners. And the reason that I like this episode is because it reads like a Russian novel. Because it's got all the aristocracy, you've got the prisons, you've got this huge, expansive history of what was going on in Russia. Russia's a complete and utter mess. And it also is the perfect intro to, hopefully, maybe at some point, I'm not going to promise this, but it's a soft maybe, possible, to have this expansive episode into Russia at some point in 2025. So I highly encourage you to listen to it, because it's amazing.
There you go. All right, for me, number 3 is once again a double tie, because it is so difficult to pick up. I love so many of these episodes. I had to cut so many. I had Bonhoeffer, I had Wilberforce, Bunyan, Torrey, McChain, Edwards. There were so many episodes I wanted to squeeze on this list, but I'm doing a tie here, and I think this is my last tie. And that is, there was a sermon by D.L. Moody on hell. Absolutely great sermon. Gave me some really good anecdotes to use in class, and terrifying as a sermon on hell would you imagine it would be, but good to listen to. It really impacts you. And then another one was by John Marsh. It was about a murder-suicide that happened in his town, and he had to preach the funeral sermon a couple days later. A very heavy episode, but it was a really thought-provoking episode. Made me really think about some of the questions of evil and what it would be like John Marsh is not a famous man. He's just a small-town pastor who had to deal with this really horrible, tragic thing that happened out of the middle of nowhere. And it just made you question, what would you do in that situation? And then also, somebody recently, there was a tragedy that happened, and they shared that episode. And they were like, hey, this is a good sermon from back in the day about a similar kind of tragedy. And I think that's one of the reasons that it also stuck out to me, is it's a timeless sermon in that way of here's evil. It's a horrible thing. It's been around a very long time. That sermon was from 300 years ago. But here's how a small-town pastor was able to deal with that. So I think it's a great episode, and that one with D.L. Moody's Hell Sermon are my number 3 for the year. Okay, on that kind of darker note, church history, trivia, geography. Let's jump back in. Joel, for you, what town is Jerome famous for pastoring in? Since it was one of your favorites of the year, what town is he at?
Why you gotta do this to me, Troy? Why you gotta do this? Jerome of...
I figured I hit Elise with several ancient people, so I owed you one.
Canterbury.
Canterbury. Is that... Oh, you actually... No, sorry. Canterbury's not correct. Elise, Jerome.
Translator. We've already done Italy. Are we doing? Is it cities?
I will go ahead and say there will be no future Italys, just to help you guys out, so you can get that off your list.
Okay.
Lovely.
Okay. Let's see.
Technically, if you get the name of the country, I guess I'd be okay with it. But I'm looking more for... This one needs to be a city for it to really count, because it's it's an old one. You can just say Roman Empire and cover like 50 of them, so it needs to be more specific.
Okay. We know it's Roman Empire. Well, that really narrows it down.
Well, everyone knew that about Jerome already.
Yeah, totally. We all knew that. Yes. Oh gosh. Why?
Would you like to guess again?
It's working great. Okay. Roman Empire. What's a city? I don't know. These ancient guys. Why? I don't know. I'm gonna pass. I don't know.
All right. Hey, I'll give both of you a hint. It sounds kind of like his name.
That's Rome.
But you said it's not Italy.
There's not Rome. Rome is not the city. Okay, let's clarify. That won't be a guess for you.
Jerome the Gnome.
Sounds kind of like his name.
Constantinople.
I want to say close, but no. All right, was that your guess?
I don't know.
All right, go ahead. Joel, you got anything?
No. What city rhymes with...
Jerusalem. I didn't say it rhymed. I said
come on.
Jerome, Jerusalem. Really? They both start with the same letters.
That's on you, bro. There's no
very
correlation
Okay, is that
there.
part of the Roman Empire, though?
Yes.
Really?
At that point, it was.
Totally.
Yes, definitely. You know, the whole... Christmas was recent. And there was a whole, census taken by the Roman Empire. Okay, so you guys aren't doing good with the ancient ones. That's okay. I'm sure the listener at home is getting all these correct. So let's go ahead. This one's more recent. For you, Elise, give me old Rutherford Waddle. He's not ancient.
Rutherford
Waddle. And I'll
Waddle.
give you the country. If you can hit the country, I'll count it.
Waddle. Ireland?
Okay. So I did say you had to pick the country they were like most from, but using his name working backwards, it would have been Waddle. No, you're correct. He is from Ireland, but then he moved to do ministry in what country? Do you know what country he moved to do ministry to?
Waddle. Well, I did not. It's totally a shot in the dark here. Can you give me his time frame? That would help me.
1800s.
1800s. Well, that doesn't actually narrow it down.
1850s onward.
Okay.
You've done an episode on this place.
Oh.
But this is not one of your episodes.
Oh, hang on. The New Hebrides?
I'm sorry, it's not the New Hebrides. All right, Joel, chance to steal.
What's it? Waddell? I'm feeling Irish, right?
You feeling lucky?
He did move from Ireland. He was from Ireland. He moved to this area and ministered. It's one of our episodes from this year, Joel.
Oh, is it Canada?
Not Canada, Joel. That's okay.
I feel like the New Hebrides. I feel like that was close.
I'm not going
I
to
feel like
it's
somewhere in not the Sandwich Islands, but somewhere.
Not a Sandwich Island. I don't even know what that is.
Is it the Cook Islands?
It is not the Cook Islands.
Oh, come on. I feel like I'm real close.
You are, and when I say the answer, you're going to be really annoyed with yourself. Joel, what do you got? Last chance to steal.
Waddell, 1850s. Switzerland.
That famous, right next to the Sandwich Islands and Cook Islands, Switzerland. No, it's New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Guys.
Oh, my word.
I remember
All
now.
right.
Well, hold up. Didn't that guy, is that the same dude that ran shop in Canada for a hot second? Am I getting him confused with someone?
I think you might be getting confused. I do think there was a guy we covered that went through Canada. I think you're thinking of William Chalmers Burns, who like went to Canada and learned French in Canada. He was all over the place too, so I can see why. Because then he eventually made his way to China. So, all right, number 2ist, second best, not second, best again, not the right words. Second most. Here's the episode you got to listen to this year. All right, for me, Cotton Mather. Pirate Death Row. I mean, even when I put this episode out on X, a listener, Yessie, was like, you got to mention that Cotton Mather one, right? It's such a good episode. I really loved it a whole lot. And I definitely am up there with saying that one was probably, I even just as a sermon, this is a sermon that was given on death row by a famous pastor. It was an on-the-fly sermon. The whole episode of hearing how these guys ended up on death row, their whole hot pirating, everything about it. I just loved it. The speaker was wonderful. A great episode. Honestly, an all-time Revive Thoughts classic for me. So that was definitely my number 2ist episode. Elise, go ahead. Hit us with number 2.
All right, number 2 for me was John Hunt, Missionary to the Cannibals of Fiji. And I liked it because it was such a stark contrast, for, like, start to finish, because when you think of Fiji today, you don't think cannibal islands, you think beautiful paradise of a place I can't afford to visit. But back in the day, it was all cannibals. So this guy helped change that, because you start out with like this whole woman strangling thing, and you have these prisoners that would literally get like run over by these boat launches because they would like sacrifice the prisoners to like christen a new boat or whatever. And then you have like, he came in and was using the New Testament and the translation work there to teach them how to read. But then also, like, it started to convict them. And so many of the people that came to Christ it was because they learned how to read using the New Testament. And then you had so many people who were coming to Christ that they had all these native teachers that had to be sent out all over the place, actually. But a lot of them just like 6 months to a year before had been like cannibals, murderers, polygamists, all these things. So I really like it because it's just like this amazing night to day difference.
Nice. Troy, you're not going to believe this is pure coincidence. I also have Cotton Mather Pirates on Death Row Sermon as my number 2 slot, which makes me wonder if, I'm pretty sure our number 1 slot's also probably the same, but that's a great episode. Cotton Mather, that was one when it came out, like I was like literally just telling my friends, like, yo, when was the last time you thought about pirates? Like, you should check out this episode. It's pretty interesting stuff. Highly recommended.
All right, well, Joel, that does make me wonder if our number 1s are the same, because I have a feeling they might be. And you know what? Well, if they are, they're probably both well-deserved. And this was a really frustrating year. To all of our speakers, we're really grateful. You helped us bring so many great sermons back this year. And we also had, honestly, it was killing me to pick episodes this year. It always hurts a little bit just picking your favorites, but and not even your favorites, just top 5 for people to check out. But it genuinely, this was the most difficult year I think I've ever had in just narrowing it down, because there were so many good ones. But before we do that, guys, it's time. Are you ready for the final 2 on this one? Joel, you're going first. I'm going to say this, whoever wins this match will be the winner here, so we can end on our number 1s on a nice high note. Joel, Samson Occam is from where?
Not a clue. Let's see. All right, let's break this down. Samson Occam. I feel like this is a more recent cat. I feel like we're firmly in the last 300 years.
We are.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not doing any more ancient guys, so you're right. Yeah. Last 300 years.
Occam. England. Let's go England.
Joel, he is not from England. Elise, chance to steal?
Oh, it's America, baby, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Man, that was my number 2.
Yeah, he was the first Native American to ever preach and have their sermon written down, and it was written down. He did it in English. Samson Occam, also famous for Occam's razor. No, I'm just kidding. That part's made up. That was a philosopher. But anyway, all right, score right now is actually 4-2, so technically the game is pretty much over.
But to know, I don't feel good about this victory, just so you know. It was a hard one, scrap.
Joel, I want to give you a chance, though, just one more time, to give you a classic, okay? Let's give you a chance here to do some damage with something. Yeah. Where is I think somebody we've had on the show, kind of recently here. Here's what I'll do. If you can name the building where our episode by William Wilberforce was at. So William Wilberforce gives a speech. What building was it in? Can you tell?
Parliament?
At least looking at me with this face that says, like, this is ridiculous, but to be fair, like,
it's Parliament, right?
All right, Joel, good job. You get a point, so it'll still end 4-3. But that was a good job. You got the building, and I appreciate that. Yeah, we had a speech on our show by William Wilberforce from Parliament. Was that me just sliding another episode in? It might have been. Okay, well, I couldn't put it on my, it wasn't on my
I think
list,
next year I'm going to run the game. I'm going to come up with a better game, and it's going to be... We'll leave it to me. Leave it to me next year.
Okay.
I leave it to you. But better game. This was a great game. Everyone at home right now is pulling out ReviveThoughts.com app, and they're going, I got to play this with friends.
Everyone at home is unsubscribing right now.
No,
they're like,
not.
no, I can't listen to these people.
They're definitely not. All right. They could have been playing along, actually.
I'm sure they were. And they probably got better, more answers than we did.
All right. Number one episode. Joel, go ahead. What was your number one episode of the year you couldn't miss?
Is Spurgeon, the one you did with Clay Kraby. I was out. I'm not sure what I was doing, but I enjoyed listening to that. I think Clay did a great job. I think you did a great job. And I think it was all around a tight, great episode.
Joel, I appreciate that. That was not my number one episode, though, so we are not going to overlap this year, and that makes me very happy. But it was a great episode, and any year where you have a Spurgeon episode, it's a winner. Again, so many. I was just doing some editing on the old Revive Thoughts book, and I had just gotten through a Spurgeon sermon that we'll feature on there, and it is amazing. Spurgeon is Prince of Preachers, and it is his nickname, and it is well earned. But that was not my number one episode for the year, but if you haven't listened to it, you should definitely do so. Elise, your number one.
All right, so I said earlier I only have 7 episodes, so it really narrows it down. But my number one is Isabel Kuhn, which is actually technically 2-parters, so there were 8 episodes that happened. But she is a missionary to China and later to Thailand, to the Lisu people in China there. And I love it so much because I felt like she was super relatable because she wrote everything down. Like, it was basically like you're chronicling along with her on her whole life's journey. And then all the people that she talks about, which are many, many people, you just feel like you get to know them as well. Really enjoyed that. So you feel just really invested the whole, like, from the beginning of her, not beginning of her life, all the way until the end of her life. And you feel like you're just walking with her the whole time. So very cool lady. And I hope the episodes do her justice. But if you haven't checked those out, definitely do. They're amazing.
Yeah, I will say, of all the people Elise has featured on Martyrs and Missionaries, I feel like Isabel Kuhn was the one that I was most like, hey, that person, I can relate to that person. I feel like I have had similar experiences to Isabel Kuhn. Not all of them. Obviously, she has a part where Japan is invading China. I
directly relate to that, yeah.
I cannot relate maybe to that part necessarily, but a lot of her interactions with other people, and I'm like, oh, man, I've definitely been in similar situations where what do you do kind of thing. But no, my number one episodes were the Typing Rebellion episodes, part 1 and 2 that we put out this year. Joel, how can I forget? You got to. Joel, the Typing Rebellion episodes.
I knew that was going to be on your list somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, it had to be my number one. Now, part of it is, it's a little arrogant to be like, the time where I talked for 4 hours, that's my favorite part. But no, it's just that I'd wanted to do the Typing Rebellion for years. Since we first did the Hudson Taylor episode and first ran into it, it was a concept that fascinated me. Finally got it out in paper, was very happy with it. We have heard so many positive feedbacks from people who really enjoyed the story, couldn't get enough of the story. And I have even personal friendships in my actual life that have been enriched by the Typing Rebellion. I was with a friend of mine the other day, and a student that I work with at school came up and was chatting with us, and they were like, wow, I feel like I'm in an adult conversation. I had these 2 adults that are chatting with me, treating me like an equal, and they were like, so what do we adults talk about? And me and my friend, without a beat, we just looked at each other and we said, so the Typing Rebellion started, and we just immediately started going, because it's just become like a part of the culture. And so for me, Typing Rebellion, absolutely. If you've not listened to those episodes, gotta listen to them. If you do not know the story of this man who declared himself as Jesus' brother, took over China for 15 years, absolutely a story you should listen to. It's sad. It's not a happy story per se, but it's definitely a story that I can't believe is missed in history. So many honorable mentions. John McGowan's satirical sermon, Jonathan Edwards' farewell sermon. I have so many I'd love to add to the list, but that is my top 5 for the year. And if you notice, I cheated in my top 5 a lot.
Are there any aspirations? Like in the next year, you're thinking, this is an episode that I would love to do? Because for me, it's a cult. I need a cult to top the Moravians. The side hole bother people. I still get emails about the side hole. And I need 2025. I need something that's going to rival the side hole. So that for me I'm going to do it.
All right, so if you don't know, Elise and Martyrs and Missionaries had an episode on the Moravians that was a lot.
Disturbing.
If you haven't listened to it, you should go do so if you like that kind of thing. But it was intense, and it was a lot, and it was kind of weird. So for us, Joel, do we have any major aspirations for where we're going this year? I do. I've finally begun to crack down on some Revive Thoughts deep dives that I'm excited about. So there was a while after Typing Rebellion, I genuinely didn't know where to go next for a while, but I now have some directions I'm beginning to put into. So I'm excited for those. Joel, you're about to say something though.
Yeah, I think 2025 is going to be the year of our Revive Thoughts book that has been in the works for a long time. So imagine, if you will, a beautiful book laid out on your coffee table, and a buddy says, "What's this?" And you say, "Oh, it's a collection of sermons throughout history memoriam that you can scour and read through, almost like a printed form of a Revive Thoughts a concept here." Available, coming soon.
Just
check
one
it
of
out.
many.
Which is funny.
Volume
too,
1.
Yes.
Yeah, which is funny because our whole show exists to bring these sermons back to life, and now we're bringing them back to dead. But anyway, we're getting there, and I like it.
Come full circle in some ways.
But no, we're definitely, that will be ready. I've been editing it like crazy over the Christmas break. It's a lot more, I'll just say it, it's a lot more work to write and edit sermons for a book than it is for a podcast, because the way you talk a sermon and the way the sermon needs to be with the semicolons and all the apostrophes, it's a very different deal when you're getting it ready to send to someone's coffee table than it is to get it ready for someone.
Okay, guys, I love how the height of aspirations for you guys is someone will put this on their coffee table.
Someone might even read it. I don't know.
Look at that front cover
Look at
that will
that
never be
book.
opened.
I know, look, I hope you read it. I picked sermons I think are especially good for reading and that are especially wonderful, but I know a lot of people, they just buy it for their shelf to look smart, but we know you who are listening right now, you're not those. You're the type of people who read them because you're the type of people who listen to a show like this, so you're definitely the kind of people who read a book like this. We're excited about it. And, for us too, we'll be back in the States this summer, so Joel, that'll be an opportunity for us to collaborate and do even more, as they say.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I think we can put a wrap on it here. Good year, great year for the shows, and 1 million downloads. Can't beat that. This is Troy, this is Joel, and this is Elise, and you've been listening to Revive Thoughts and Martyrs and Missionaries.